Hi, this is Park Sam with a short blog on the Living Working Abroad show, where we're looking at. I want to specifically just introduce you to the EU Blue Card scheme. It's a new scheme introduced in July 25 by the EU, and it's EU wide. So and it's for any expat who is non-EU who wants to relocate into the EU, most EU countries, including Cyprus, uh, for living and working purposes. It's not a permanent residency permit. It's not a visitor's visa for a holiday or business trip. This is something that's in between that you want to do. And the EU Blue Card scheme operates for 2 to 3 years. So if you want to work remotely, you want to be living and working abroad, then you can do that using the EU Blue Card scheme. You've got to be in cooperation with your employer, but if you find that work in the EU, you can get a work permit to relocate to the EU with that company if you're living and working abroad outside the, the EU. That includes many people around the world. It could include Americans, Canadians, Argentinians, but it also includes the British. Um, uh, and but it's not open to everybody. It's open to certain categories of people. And when I say the EU, we need to be clear that under the EU statutes, countries always got the option to opt out. Generally, on residency issues, Ireland is opted out of any EU scheme because of its connection and relationship and the borders with the UK. So Ireland is not involved in the EU Blue Card scheme. So if you apply for that, it won't, whatever we're saying here, it doesn't apply for Ireland. You'd have to do that separately. But Denmark has also opted out of the EU Blue Card scheme. So all the other countries in the EU are participating, including Cyprus, Greece, France, Germany, Norway, but not Sweden, um, Germany, Poland, Spain, Portugal, but not Denmark and not Ireland. Okay. Now, at the moment, there's generally only three sectors that the EU Blue Card scheme applies for: people in shipping, crews of ships, people researching in the pharmaceutical industry, and people in IT. So if you've got any sort of IT job that you're applying for in the EU, then the EU Blue Card scheme could work for you. So let's have a look at what some of the conditions are. Um, and obviously, this is a process that you would do with your employer, or uh, you could do it through partnership, and we can support you and your employer to get your residency permit to be living and working abroad in the EU. What you need, first of all, is a minimum salary of around £37,500, 43 and a half thousand euros. That's the minimum for the EU Blue Card scheme that you've got to have. You're looking for an employer which must be in a jurisdiction that's applicable. So the EU Blue Card scheme gives you residency, unrestricted residency in a country in the EU. We make the application in the country that you want to be resident and be working most of the time. But it also then gives you the freedom to move around the EU under Schengen's own rules still, that you can only go to if you're a blue card scheme member in Cyprus. You can go and work in France for 90 days in any 6 month period, or Portugal, or Germany, but you can't do that permanently. So you've still got some EU restrictions, but not for the country in which you live. So you can do the work, you can be tax resident and pay your social insurance. You've got you've got EU citizens' rights, so you're got equal rights with the locals, the Cypriots, the French, or whichever country that you're living in. Um, and it also then allows you to move around the EU, any other country where there might be You just want to go and work remotely for a short period of time, but still with this Schengen zone restriction of 90 days in any 6 month period. If you've got an EU blue card for your work as a non-EU citizen, you can actually bring your family members with you as well. So you can make an application to bring your family members in at the same time. And if you want to consider that option, that can work very well, because if once your spouse gets in as a dependent spouse of an EU blue card scheme holder, card holder, the spouse can actually work locally as well. Um, so let's have a summary of what the EU Blue Scheme is for. It's aimed at highly skilled people that want to that are from outside the EU that want to work in the EU. Uh, they need an employer. You need an employer, and then you can apply in any country for that EU Blue Card scheme, excluding Ireland and Denmark. Denmark have opted out. Ireland have already opted out because of their connections with the UK. But if you've got a minimum salary of 43,500 or £37,500, that allows you to work for up to 2 or 3 years. Uh, it's got to be a minimum of a 2 year contract and a maximum of 3 year contract. It doesn't stop you renewing it, but that's the initial EU Blue Card scheme. It's not a travel visa. It's not the electronic traveller visa, which is due to come in 2026. Um, but it still allows you to travel all around the EU. But again, with the EU Schengen zone restrictions, you don't need a separate electronic visa to spend 3 months in France or Spain or Romania or Hungary or Austria. You can do that under the EU blue card scheme. So works for Cyprus. It works for UK expats. So if you have got a job with a Cyprus-based employer, or you want to try and get an EU blue card scheme for your employment, and you're from outside the EU, you can contact us at proactpartnership.com. I'm going to help and assist you in getting that short-term residency permit as a remote working expat living and working abroad. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next time.